Welcome. When you came into crypto, what was it you were wanting to accomplish? Is it fair to say that, like me, you were looking for massive returns? How has that journey been going for you so far? Now, many of you probably came in 2021, which means the tide was massively against you unless you got in right at the beginning of 2021. But that's usually not when people find crypto. It's usually during the bull run when massive gains are happening. That's when I came in 2017. Why? It takes massive gains to get your attention enough to look closely enough to try to figure out what's happening behind the scenes. And so if massive gains have already happened, well, then likely you came in time just to hit a retracement. And so it's probably not gone well for you yet. And it's that last word that makes all the difference, because what is setting up is huge. And a lot of people don't have enough investment background experience to realize what is setting up. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. They're just new to this. And when you're new, is it fair to say, you're always bad before you're good. And so it takes a while to get good. And many of you are here to get good. And if you think about what the larger game at hand is, because really, in many ways, life is just a game. Well, the game at hand here is how to make a lot of money by using this technology shift that is happening and making strategic bets. We call them investments, but they are just bets on things that have better than average chances to do well for you, while trying to minimize your potential for losses. Now, overall, the timing right now is really good. Why? Well, we've already had savage retracements. And the only fear from now run happens, because if they do, they'll probably do pretty well in the bull run, and that will give them a lot more capital. Plus, if you're investing in their project, their tokens, their NFTs or whatever, then you'll probably do well. Now, one of the things heavily on my mind is gaming, and there's a bunch of different names coming out about how to think about gaming. But in essence, this is the future of gaming because it involves true ownership. And when gamers are given finally true ownership of their items, they're not easily going to let go of that. And it's ownership that will bring about a revolution that many don't realize what's going to happen. Now, I'm making some big statements, so let me give you a little historical context. I started in crypto in 2017, and in 2018, 2019, really started coming about this idea of blockchain gaming. And it always made sense to me. And so one of the first games coming out was something. They had done a sale of their characters, essentially an NFT sale, and then they were doing a land sale. And I thought, this idea of ownership in blockchain gaming is going to be massive. So I invested in a couple of the top, I guess, background projects. Actually, the first, they didn't really have an amazing team yet. They just had a dedicated team, but they didn't have big backgrounds. They were young. But they're the ones that came up with this idea of land on the blockchain first. And I thought, that's a really big idea. And then another one of the projects I invested in was backed by Coinbase. And I thought, this idea of blockchain gaming is going to be huge. Well, both those investments did incredible numbers for me. Why? Because this idea is an idea that will change gaming. And that one that I bought land in was Axie Infinity. And unfortunately for me, I sold way too early when it went 100x. Now, keep in mind, it went down for 18 months before it did well. So that was 18 months of pain that sucked. Bought in January 2019, and that really sucked. And then it started to kind of go up to about what I paid for it over the next 6 months. So for the trajectory, the first 18 months was terrible. And then 6 months, it took 6 months to get back to what I'd paid for it. And then from there, it went first 100x, which is where I sold. But it did a total of 3,000x. Wow. And Axie Infinity wasn't even the type of game that most people like to play. And it was pretty basic, and yet it hit crazy returns because this idea is huge. Now, why do I think this is going to dominate the coming bull run? It won't be the only thing that does well. I think Bitcoin will do quite well, and we're seeing this setup for it to go do amazing things. I mean, that's really exciting. All in the news today is, when is the spot ETF going to be approved? And it's probably going to be approved soon. That will probably lead over the following months to a lot of money coming into Bitcoin, which will lead to FOMO in both retail and corporate clients and sovereign wealth funds, which will probably drive up the price higher. Though usually what it does is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back, and plays this little step forward and then retracement game, even when there's a bigger run. And that would be normal. But usually it's culminated at some point by a blow off top. Now, as Bitcoin gets a lot of attention, what happens is people start taking this technology seriously, and they start looking into it deeper. And that's what happened with blockchain gaming in 2021. Trust me, all the game makers noticed that Axie Infinity made billions in revenues because they had so many people playing their games. And as they exchanged Smooth Love Potion and other items in the marketplace, Axie was making 4.25%. And so off that 4.25% every transaction, Axie was making huge revenues, the kind of revenues most game makers would die for. That's what got a lot of the game makers and the people behind those game makers involved. And what you're seeing is that some people couldn't get the game maker themselves to change the direction of their ship. And so some of the top people have left and come over into the blockchain gaming space, because this is the future, and it's true ownership. And true ownership is going to bring money into the space like we have never seen. Now, we got a glimpse of it, and we have a second glimpse of it. So what I like to do is like to look for patterns that make sense to me in crypto. Now, for example, patterns that don't make sense to me. I've heard a lot of projects launch and they're like, we're going to put gambling on the blockchain. Now, let me ask you, what benefit does blockchain bring to gambling? Not really any. You could have greater transparency, I guess, but gamblers already have their sites. They know that on average they lose. I don't know that transparency is that important to them, unless the continued centralized sites continue to burn people by creating like backdoors so they can cheat, which happened a while ago with one big project. But yeah, it doesn't really add much for gamblers. Gamers, however, when you truly own your assets, that creates a secondary market, and gamers have wanted a secondary market for 20 years. Why? Well, back in 2002, 2003, World of Warcraft and EVE Online had some of the biggest, of course, World of Warcraft being number one, biggest MMORPGs. And there was such a demand to sell gold and other items between each other that black markets were created, even at the risk of losing their account. Tons of gold was being farmed and then sold for real money on black markets. So the demand for this is high. This demand to truly own your stuff and be able to capture the value and sell it to someone else. The game makers have done everything they can to fight and resist it. But now, because blockchain enables currency, say ETH or another cryptocurrency, to be used, you're going to have a lot more projects producing this. And so those game makers that don't update to this idea are going to be left in the ash heap of history. And that the ones who do are going to make such huge revenues that many people don't see right now. Back to the glimpse of what I saw. So in 2021, I had actually sold all my Axie Infinity land. And I was at the Bitcoin conference in June of 2021. And I ran into this guy, and this guy had some real estate background. And he's like, oh my gosh, you know what the number one pick that's going to crush everything is in the crypto space? And I was like, sure, tell me. And he said, Axie Infinity land. I was like, oh, well, share with me why. And he's like, well, I've borrowed $2 million from some investor friends, and we're putting together a fund to manage this land, and it's going to do tremendous. And I thought, Wow. He's gone out and borrowed real capital, $2 million, to buy Axie Infinity land, and people lent it. Now, was his timing good? No, his timing was terrible. Why? Because people chase green candles, right? So he was buying it at like $30 and $40 and $50,000 per Mystic plot. And it did go up to 70,000 floor price, or if it touched land, 120,000. If it touched a road, $120,000. So maybe if he sold, he made some good money. My guess is he didn't sell. I haven't talked to him since then. I wasn't interested in buying it then. I had already taken profits on all mine. But what's interesting is this idea of massive investment from business people to create businesses inside of the games. And I think that's what we're going to see. And I was talking to an uncle of mine that actually helped in the 70s through the 2000s, the different computer revolutions and internet revolutions that happened there. And he worked for a lot of companies, and he is one of the most brilliant people I know. And he shared with me the video games down the road. At some point, some video game maker will make a game that within their game, they'll allow other businesses to create products within the game and market those products. And that the overall game maker just takes a little tax on that, a little cut. And there will be like some kind of approval process on who can build items within the game. And obviously they can't make them overpowered. There will be some rules and constraints there. But this idea will completely dominate gaming in the future, and nobody's yet realizing that. And he was right. He told me that in like 2015. And that's what blockchain gaming is really going to allow. And it's some projects out there that are going to make this possible. Which ones are going to win? I don't know. We'll talk about some different ones that I like. There are lots of ones that I like, and feel free to tell me what ones are on your mind. I did do this live just so we could have a discussion and interaction. So let me catch up on the comments. Walshy says, hey, Rain, let's go. Walshy, good to have you here. Crazy Dan 420 says, let's go. Is there a new game that you're investing in now? There is actually a link below to a new course that I just released. The price of the course is $40. There is a 90% off. So it's actually $39.90, and there's a 90% off. So it's $399 for that course. It's half hour. It is off something not fully in the blockchain gaming space, but something you might consider checking out. I priced it. I created 100 coupons at that price. And so when the coupons are out, they're out, but it's just $4. I think this has outsized potential for returns. Is it truly new? No, the projects are about 2 years old. They're massively off everyone's radar. I see nobody talking about them right now. Nobody. And yet the historical context on this, which I provide in that course, will blow you away of like, okay, this pattern is very likely to do well. Now, there's a chance it doesn't, but it does involve top licenses. The pattern is solid. You might check it out. You will probably rue the day you didn't pay the $4 for that course if you don't. Now, there is another one that we'll talk about where I'm at with some of the games and what I'm investing in, what I'm not, aside from what I just shared with you, because I have been putting more funds in what I just shared with you. Michael James says, love your work, sir. Lawyer from London. Fantastic. Lawyers are just highly trained, usually smart business people, some smarter than others, some exceptionally smart that deal in law. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. The extra education, though, does help them understand the arguments people make for things. And so it is a good background, because really what we're doing in this space is we're vetting. We're trying to see who's bullshitting, whose narratives make sense, other things like that. Lawyers deal with bullshit from people all the time, so their radars are strong for filtering through it. All right. Kelly Boudreaux says, this will be my first bull cycle. My biggest position is OMI. Awesome. It's one of my biggest positions as well. Then Bitcoin, Caspa, ETH, File, VXV, and a few others. Eek. You sharing your thoughts and experience have been so helpful. Awesome, Kelly. Very good to have you. Yeah, OMI is one of my favorites too. I feel like it's got outsized. What I look for is, if you think about what we do and how not to be a gambler, because there are plenty of people who gamble in this space. And that's not what I do. I'm into this space, but I'm very selective on bets I take. I want outsized potential for returns while as low of risk as possible, though there is no zero risk. All of the space is risky. I'm just trying to use research and everything to vet what I'm interested in to take good returns. And I like a lot of your picks. I don't know VXV. Bitcoin is, in my opinion, the safest of the crypto stuff. Its returns will be diminished. It's not a bad place to be. The chances that it gets rug pulled are like nil, or next to nil. The chances that somebody finds a way to exploit it, it could happen. It's just less likely than every other project out there. Jester says, appreciate your views, Rain. Lots to learn from you. J-Solo9, hey, Rain, have you heard of Polka City? It seems like GTA Universe, but the bear market hit them hard. I haven't heard of them. I do like the GTA Universe a lot, and whatever game best implements something like that first with ownership, it's a fantastic idea. Well, I wanted to jump over some ones on my mind, and there's a number to talk about. One has been particularly popping off lately, and in some ways, it's unfortunate that it has, because I like buying cheap. Now, if you've joined our Discord, particularly at the gold level, I try to give my thoughts to the gold level first, but the gold level is a lot more expensive than just the entry level. The entry level, you can get it at $19.99 a month. And the gold level, it's essentially $100 a month. But I told them, like Myria, even though I pointed out some charts, and they get access to J trades and trading alerts, and how it was bottoming out like this, and it has since broken to the upside. Now, is it expensive? Relatively. It's just more expensive than it was. It'll probably have a phenomenal bull run and go much, much, much higher than this. But one of my principles is I don't chase green candles. And as you see, we got some serious green candles going on here. And so chasing green candles usually doesn't lead to the best results. So sometimes there will be a retracement from here. I think it'll probably go up to at least 6 cents, though. So let me give it a little bit bigger. I wouldn't be surprised, and we'll see. It could break down from here. So notice it came up, hit some resistance. Shoot, I'm sharing the wrong tab. You guys have not been able to see this. My apology. They changed some things on how StreamYard tab sharing works, and sometimes I don't update and share the right tab. My apologies. All right, so you see it came up here, it then consolidated, broke to the upside, consolidated. Now, the chance that it breaks the upside from here is less than it was the first time. Might retrace more significantly from here, especially since I'm not fully sure what kicked off this price increase from Myria. Another one that's on my mind isn't just Myria. Myria, I guess I'll share with you what I like about it. I like the team. I like the person who owns it and created it. He's Jonathan Teo, an experienced entrepreneur, had a lot of successes in Silicon Valley. He does come from a billionaire family. Usually I hold that against them, because a lot of times the kids of billionaires don't take business serious, because they have all the connections so easy. They don't value them and they don't use them well. And Jonathan, I did speak to him about a year and a half or 2 years ago. I was supposed to speak to the CMO who was getting married. And so he set me up to talk to somebody from the team named John. And I didn't realize it was the CEO. And we were on the call and I was Googling him. I realized he was the CEO at the time. I don't know if he holds a different position, but essentially the founder of it, or the main co-founder. And he was sharp, bright, humble, all the things I like to see in it, and a billionaire himself. And so they've got good backing behind this. And he hired a bunch of people in the industry. And essentially they're set up a lot like Gala, with nodes, with distribution from the nodes. And Gala did incredibly well in the last bull run. In fact, potentially too well. And I don't know if they valued, because it came so easy, they valued good decision-making processes. And I feel like they've made a lot of poor decisions in the last year. And I don't know that Gala is going to be as relevant. Myria being compared to them, if we look at where their market cap is 28 million, but look at this other number down here, 209 million. That's going to be a lot more relevant number. Now, let me pull up Gala's fully diluted market cap, and we will see that their fully diluted market cap is 944 million. And their price even has pumped at the same time as Myria has. So maybe it's people starting to wake up to blockchain gaming. I suspect it is, because I've seen a few things pump recently. And maybe that narrative will cool down one more time before the pump. I don't have a magic crystal ball to know. But I know that Myria is far below the market cap of Gala, yet they're making a lot of much better decisions. And so I just like them as a better pick. I did purchase 21 nodes in Myria, so I get about 1.3 million tokens per month from running the nodes. And you get some other NFTs and stuff. You can buy nodes. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'll give you a referral link. You buy them in actual Myria tokens. I do have a connection that runs it cheaper than, because you then have to either get a virtual private server and run it yourself. And the cost of that is usually $20 a month. And then you have to figure out what you're doing. I worked out a bulk discount for somebody that runs them for $17 a month. He runs them. And you do some initial setup. He walks you through exactly how to do it. And then he maintains it every month, and you just send payment to him. And so that's what I do. He runs my 21 nodes and hasn't missed a single day. So it's been good. The nodes are a better deal than they were because the price of the token has gone up. The token price got so cheap that I was like, wow, this token price is cheap enough. Don't feel like you have to get a node to do well in this. Now, a little bit of history on nodes with Gala. Gala's nodes came out, and my understanding was they were about 5,000 if you got them pre-sale. Then they went to 10,000. I might be incorrect on that. I think that's what the pricing was. I know somebody, not super closely, but know somebody that bought a bunch of them. And at one point, he was making tens of thousands of dollars a month from his nodes. And he had paid $10,000 per node, and he made incredible money from node ownership during the bull market. In fact, I think at one point he was making like $100,000 a month from his Gala nodes and the tokens that were coming in. The Gala nodes over time, as they sold more, they increased the prices and went to like $360,000 for a node. And I was definitely not going to chase into that. But when one of my contacts who helps a lot of early stage projects reached out to me and told me about Myria, he said it's the most exciting project in team he's seen in crypto his entire journey in crypto. And he had been in crypto for about 7 years, and he had been an advisor to a lot of projects. And so I took Myria very seriously from day one. And after I talked to Jonathan, I thought this one is likely to be a behemoth, and it had my full attention. So Myria, I like it a lot. Another one I want to share with you is games for a living. Now, actually, one of my Gold Discord members, one of our Rainmaker family, brought this to my attention. Ryan, credit to you, brought it to me, and he said, what do you think about this one? He told me all the things he liked about it, and I was like, oh, I hadn't heard of them before. They did do an IDO through Engine Starter, and Engine Starter is a good launch pad that has good connections. And the people who bought it in Engine Starter are up 10x because I think they were buying it at like 0.4 cents, and it's now at 3.5, almost 4 cents. So I guess they're really only up 9x. I don't know what the pre-sale price on this is. And my only challenge with this one is the pre-sale tokens. I think they start vesting soon. And if so, you have all the people that bought in the pre-sale. It will start putting some downward pressure on this. So on this one, I'm just looking for a good entry point. But the team behind this is exceptional. I think they have a much higher than normal chance. So I haven't started dollar cost averaging into this one yet, but it is very, very high on my radar. I like to invest in teams, and maybe it never does come down. And if so, I just have to know I can't catch every opportunity, and that's all right. Obviously, I missed this one in the earlier stages when it was way cheaper than it is now, because it has gone up about 7x from these lows. And I just don't chase green candles, even though it's still relatively low and it could go to a market cap over $1 billion. I'll just wait and see if the downward price pressure from token investing brings it down to a place where I'm like, I can feel like I'm getting an exceptional price on it. But very interested. I would love to have them on if someone knows them. Yes, I would definitely like to have them on for an interview. I'll probably reach out to them at some point if they don't hit me up and have them on the channel, because blockchain gaming is going to be one of the massive aspects of the next bull run. And a lot of people aren't paying good attention to it now. I even hear blockchain gaming is dead. Play to earn is dead and blah, 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 and it's never going to succeed again. Well, I hear that every bear market, and these people that say that kind of thing, they just don't know what they're talking about. They don't. And I heard it last bear market too. And it was music to my ears, because it confirmed to me that things were on track and would do well. And these people just didn't know what they didn't know yet. All right. So games for a living, very high on my interest list. Another one that's high on my interest list is Ultra. Now, Ultra was around prior to the last bear market, and I actually made some good money on this one. It has since retraced all the way down over 90% from the highs, and it shows highs of like 237 here. I think it did hit a little bit higher. So it's down like 93 or 94%. Ultra has continued to work hard and do good things in the background. You do see that they're on KuCoin and Bitfinex. You can also get them on Uniswap. Yeah, so there's a number of exchanges that they're on. For Ultra, you can check out their website, The Future of Gaming. Think of them kind of like Myria in some ways, kind of like building a Steam ecosystem. If you're a gamer, you know who Steam is. If you're not a gamer, you might not know that Steam is like, you create a login to Steam and you download Steam, and then you can buy games within it. And so you don't have to know your individual logins for all the different games. And you can keep money in your Steam account, and then you can use that to buy the games. You can sell items within your Steam account that puts money in the account that you can use then that money to buy other games. And so it kind of feels like it has partial ownership. Steam does. Though you can't, I don't know that you can extract that money from Steam. So it's not true ownership. But the fact that you can get items sometimes in games like Dota 2 is one of the big games, and you can get that through Steam. And as you get items in Dota 2, you can sell them on the Steam marketplace and then get some money. So some items that you could get from drops and other things, some of them will have value and you could sell them. And so we see this idea of ownership is popular with people, though current gaming systems are only giving very limited ownership. Because the truth is, you don't own your account. You're just renting it. They can shut you down at any time, and then you have no access to your items. So that's not ownership. If they decide they don't like you, they can remove your access to your items and you can no longer sell them. You're just leasing the space. You're just there, and you feel like you have ownership till the minute you don't. All right, let me catch up on some more comments. Myria Boomin one time. Oh, Chris Ashby says, Rainmakers. Good to have you here, Chris. GTA with ownership would be insane. Absolutely. GTA is a really, of course, when I was a kid, my mom wouldn't let me play it. I was right at the age that that stopped mattering so much because I was going off into the military and fully making my own decisions. No, GTA actually came out later than that. I was married at the time to somebody who was very kind of judgy, black and white thinking. And so she didn't want me playing GTA. And she's the one that was telling me, oh, no, it's terrible and horrible. When I first played it, I was like, this game is crazy good. And there's a reason why it's going so viral. So now they're on GTA 5 and some other things. It's a really good game. And the first one to really nail a metaverse like that and in a game like that, they will make a fortune. as well as you'll probably have businesses forming inside of there, which will amplify it. Russ Gould says, what do I think about Veracity? I like Veracity, and we can talk about Veracity. Let's pull that up. I think esports in the future is huge, and Veracity is trying to position themselves for this. And essentially, one of their big discussions is that they want proof of view is what they talk about. So the new standard in transparency here through the VeriView system and Veracity's patented proof of view module, we're transforming the black box ad fraud industry. So as what their hope is esports goes mainstream, that they're hosting a lot of the events, that they can charge for advertising, but the advertisers know that these things are actually being viewed by real people and not by bots. And so that advertisers are getting what they want out of it. Now, a lot of people aren't really thinking about this space, but Veracity has a chance to be absolutely massive. It's hard to tell if it will come together like that, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But their market cap is just at 64 million. If what they're talking about does go huge, it's something that can hit a market cap into the tens of billions. Will they be the ones to lead into that space? I would hope so. I don't really know who their team is. I would love to have them on the channel and interview them. That I have some Veracity, and I think it's got great potential for a future. If you look at the charts, look how low it is. It has recently pumped. It was much cheaper. It was at 0.25 cents. It's currently at 0.63. But we're not completely out of the bear market yet, although we might pop right out of it once some spot ETFs are approved. Then you will have the likes of Fidelity and BlackRock selling people on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And they will be pushing it hard. And so you will have some massive adoption because of that. And I was listening to somebody that operates in that space, and he said financial products aren't bought, they are sold. And Bitcoin's never been in a position where somebody has a financial vested interest to sell them on Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden, BlackRock and Fidelity are going to have these on-ramps to Bitcoin that they can make some money if you buy it. And then they're going to be pushing it and selling it. And so most people aren't realizing what a big deal that will be. I agreed with his analysis. Totally makes sense. Russ says they burned 50% recently. Their tokenomics has always been a little bit confusing to me. I think 100% of their tokens are in circulation, though it shows just 10,249 million in circulation, but the total supply has 100 billion more than that. But I guess for some reason, that extra 90 billion will never come into circulation. I can't say I understand exactly what that is. Just some of the Discord family members that know this one a lot better told me that 90 billion will not come into circulation. So that makes me feel a lot better than I didn't like that it was only showing 10% of the tokens in circulation, because that might mean a bunch of tokens get dumped on everybody later. If 100% of their tokens are in circulation, that is good news. And it's had this massive retracement, which retracements are a setup for another run. Now, where could this go? It could far exceed the previous highs, and the previous highs are about 13x from here. So maybe 50x, 40x, maybe higher. If they nail it and everyone starts talking about esports and their wallet is connected well and they start hosting some big esports tournaments for blockchain games, then it would do even higher. Are they ready for that? I don't know. That's just potential that could happen. I don't know whether that will come together. All right. What other projects in play to earn space are on your mind? I'm going to share with you one that's on my mind, but the timing is poorly still, but it's one to watch. And that is Big Time. Now, because I bought some of their space when their space launched, I have access to play the game. I have played it, though when I try to play it with using StreamYard, it totally fails. It becomes super laggy and I can't really show it very well. So I haven't recorded any videos. I would have to go to a very old setup of what I used to use to possibly be able to show you the play on that. And I don't know if that would work, but it isn't working with StreamYard at all. Even though StreamYard has worked with some other games, it's totally not working when I tried to share it. But their token recently dropped, and so it had this big run up. So the token wasn't available. It had this big run up and then a pullback. And I like to buy things when they're boring. And big time recently, their token came out like literally less than a month ago. So it shows here like maybe the 10th of October and has gone up all the way. At one point, it went all the way to 32 cents. It's now at 17 cents, but that's still a lot higher than the 5 cents it came out at. The price hasn't been punished yet. So as much as I like the game so far, it's been cool to play. And I think they're onto something with their ideas. I'm just waiting for a cheaper price because there are other projects that have been out for a year or two. They have Big Time actually has significant time in development, like many of the other projects. They just hadn't released a token till recently. So I want to see the token price get savaged before I'm going to buy it because I like buying cheap. Now, in some senses, if you buy space in their marketplace, those prices have been somewhat hurt. And so you might be able to get that definitely at a cheaper price that I paid when it first launched. So just some thoughts about Big Time. I do like what they have going on. What other? Vivid Hernando one. I got in GFAL around 0.7 and 0.8 cents. Nice. Okay, so that was a good buy. So this is GFAL, who is now at 3.5 cents. So you're up 5x for that. The stuff you got at 0.7 cents. That's awesome. At 0.8 cents, you're still up, like, what is that? 4.5x. Nice. Yeah. So Big Time. I just shared with you my thoughts on that. We can go to their website, get a little bit more research on it. So you can get a pass if you have some of their time, I think, or their space, they call it. Space is kind of like you can hold more rooms, like you can put a forge and stuff essentially in your spaceship if you have quote unquote space. And there's different space items that you can buy. And like some will have more space and have access to having more things that you can put in your ship. Character is pretty cool. You can be some different characters. The party system is cool. There are some guilds. Like I joined a guild. I haven't played with them a whole lot. The game was fun. I spent about 3 days playing it, grinded to like level 17, which gave me an idea of the gameplay. I haven't figured out how to use forges in the space, and I didn't want to have to grind up to like level 45 or 50 to be more relevant. I like gaming, but I'm having a hard time playing that much games. Now, I always wanted to, as a kid, create a situation where I could like play games for like a job or for a living. Sounds really cool. I did somewhat retire in 2021 and just manage my own investments. I retired my day job, but yeah, playing games too much actually bothers me more than I ever thought it would. I just can't play as much games as I thought I'd be able to. Justin asked, does crypto rely on the internet companies? I guess you'll have to clarify further what that question is asking. Ali Limantos, am I still holding spores? Yes. And I want to buy more at these prices. I think some of the play to earn launch pads are going to do tremendous. Spores is one of the launch pads with some of the better connections in Asia, as well as the same connections as like Engine Starter has. And so I like it as a launch pad a lot. Justin says the only game I'm playing is GTA 6, maybe VVverse. Yeah, we'll see what comes out that's worth playing. Hopefully the VVverse really does a good job of making it so that you can share all your collectibles you have, essentially rooms or space, like cool spaces that you've decorated and created, to share what you're passionate about easily on social media. If that's what their VVverse ends up doing, I think that will be huge. There is another game I wanted to get to. I haven't seen anybody bring up, and I didn't mention it yet, but it's one that has a chance of having the biggest metaverse play. And no, it's not that one. It is this one, Cornucopias. Now, I bought a lot of land in Cornucopias. I have a bunch of their tokens. I wish I had a whole lot more. Their market cap is just 21 million. It did pump up quite well. So it bottomed here essentially in early January at just under 1.4 cents. And it went all the way up to almost 4.5 cents. And it has since retraced and has been in this nice range. Now, I think what happened is people got excited because it was launching. The game was launching for some early people that had access to test it. And what happens is often things then cool down for a while. So the price has been coming back to much more attractive levels. It's still 2x up from the bottom, but in fact, the true bottom back here is 2.5x up from that bottom, but it's at an attractive price here. Now, I've had access to the early game. They don't let you show video of it, but I'm an early investor in this project. I'm an early investor in the land. So I was able, and I'm in their Discord, their OG members. So a lot of our Rainmaker community is, because they came on our channel. We were one of the first channels to interview them. And they said, wink, wink, join the Discord. There'll be a special bonus. So a bunch of our family joined the Discord and then ended up getting OG status, which gave you access to some special drops, some OG drops and other things, but also gives you access to test the demo. And the demo is really cool. Their 3D world is cool. It's very metaverse potential like. So as long as the game part is really cool, then I think it would attract a lot of people to it. And if it attracts a lot of people to it and they can host a lot of people on these servers at the same time, they can create a good metaverse potential that perhaps they end up being the first big metaverse. Even though they're technically a game, why couldn't a game really be the first metaverse? Why does it have to be somebody that says, oh, we're a metaverse? It doesn't. Justin says, I bought some Kopi the other day. JSolo9 says, I wish I had more spores. Yeah, me too. Yes, it's cheaper. Price retrace some. People are like, oh, no, it's cheap. And it's like, well, right. That happens in a bear market. They're like, should I sell? And it's like, I don't when the prices go down. I buy low. So this is spores price. Let's take a look at it. So it did go all the way up to here, way down from here in December. I rated Spores as one of my top picks at the price it was at, and it was really cheap. And one of my gold member Discord asked me what the top ones on my mind were, and so I shared that with him. And then I waited a couple of days and I shared it with everyone, but it was Spores and it was Bumper and a few others. And they did tremendous over the following months. They've retraced some, and Spores particularly retraced down to here and then has gone up. Bumper, it went up a lot and has retraced to about the level it was last December. So it's time for me to add more Bumper. Time for me to add more Spores. I didn't realize it had just run up some more, but it's still at a pretty attractive price. Their market cap is super low. It's under $1 million market cap right now. Yes, only 20% of their tokens are in circulation. That's fine. That market cap is so low. It's really exciting. Justin says, huge Trump voice. My son can actually do a Trump and Obama voice quite well. It's really hilarious. I was trying to get him to watch videos of W. Bush and Bill Clinton, just to kind of round off, past presidents. And Biden's a little bit harder to do, less I guess he has some specific things, but Clinton and Bush and Trump and Obama are just, legends as far as their voices and the particular things that they say. So yeah, I wish I could do it. That'd be fun. All right. Hi, big fan from Czech Republic. Thank you for joining us. What do I think about Futureverse? Futureverse. Have I heard of Futureverse? All right. So it's not coming up there. So let me share the screen. Powered by Filecoin. I think that's what it's saying, right? Our FuturePass Smart Wallet SDK enables simple, fast, safe, and password-free user onboarding with Web3 apps, games, and experiences that safeguard user identity and data storage, digital assets, tokens. Looking interesting so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I literally hadn't heard of this. That doesn't mean it can't be a big thing. Huh. Futureverse AI in market. There's the AI League, the FIFA Women's World Cup, Muhammad Ali, the Next Legends, and Thingies. Interesting. Clearly, I don't know much about it yet. I am liking the level of quality so far. Seems cool. Our ecosystem, so FIFA, Cool Cat, Centerplay. Okay, I probably have heard of them, but never really dug deeper on them yet. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad project just because I hadn't really heard them. They haven't hit my radar. There's so much out there. Trying to keep track of everything is really, really hard. Well, they say they have a research tab. Yeah, there's clearly a lot more to know about this. Happenings, white paper. Looks substantive from what I'm seeing. So I didn't find a token for it on CoinMarketCap. NFT. Okay. I actually hold some of these guys, actually, these NFTs. So yeah. We'll see how this comes together. And it did mention the what was it called? They referred to him as the AI. Yeah. Futureverse collaborates with Alibaba Cloud to bring robust computing technology to music. Okay, cool. It ties into Alibaba Cloud. There's enough here to believe it's substantive. That's for sure. And what was it talking about? The ASM AI. So I think these are the ASM AI brains that are some NFTs. I know some friends of mine were really big into those and they bought them really cheap and they did really well. I don't know where the price of those have been, but that's probably what it's talking about here. Let's see if I can find it. These are the ASM brains, and it's kind of like the idea is that these ASM brains will go into can go into your characters in different games or something and can amplify what the character can do. And that these brains as an NFT themselves will be able to grow and become smarter and learn some things. It's a really cool idea and concept. At one point, these pumped to like 7 ETH. Somewhat in the bear market, even I think the early bear market, and have since retraced. But the idea has always been kind of cool to me. ASM Genesis brains, you can see here. So yeah, we will see. Yeah, looks like that's what Futureverse is. So I guess in some ways I've heard of it, though I don't know that a ton about it yet. I bought Coke because you like it. No, Justin. You can't ever buy something because I like it, because what I'm hoping here is that you all become savage crypto investors, that you become amazing at this. Look, I've had 20 years experience prior to crypto and 6 years in crypto. So investing experience. So it's helped me kind of like, still though, when I first came into crypto, I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't think that what I knew from previous investing experience applied. It does. There are market cycles in this. There are ways to figure out how to research and give yourself better chances to learn for what kind of patterns there are for things that end up having better chances to succeed, because 70% of the whole crypto space is complete shit that you don't want to touch. The remaining 30%, you're filtering for projects that have better chances to succeed, as well as the timing when the price is really, really low. And so that takes a lot of research time and effort. And that's where skill comes in. And the better you get, the less time it takes you to identify good things. And what I hope is that some of you really stand on the shoulders of all that experience I had and reach even greater heights than I have in much shorter amounts of time. My goal was never tell people what to like and not like. My goal was to create a family of savage crypto investors that hopefully become friends, and we create something different and special. Now, with going that route, it led to a way that is not very hot. Your audience gets wrecked, but you get a lot of viewers, and then people look at you and they think, oh, you have a really big channel, so I'm going to follow you. And they take your advice even more serious because you have a really big channel. However, your viewers don't have the best crypto experience because they're definitely not learning to think like savage crypto investors. They're doing what the 95% of people doing, and that's FOMOing in at the top. So I want to take a different approach. And yes, it's led to a much smaller channel. I could have a much bigger channel by always talking about what was hot, and that's okay. I make my money through investing. I'm recently put some courses together that are particularly important things that I think unlocks your skills future. There's a little bit of monetization, but this one I just released, there is a link below. It's 90% off. So $39.90, you get 90% off. It's essentially $3.99 for the course of my top 2 picks that I think have outsized potential for gains, and while less risk than most everything else with that type of potential for gains. And I have not covered on this channel in a very long time. The prices are exceptional, though. You want to, like, the prices can pump if a bunch of people buy this. So yeah, if they buy the course and look at it, the prices can pump pretty quick. But there are a number of items within those 2 ecosystems I talk about that you probably have better chances than normal on those. But it's $4, so monetizable. Yes, it's really cheap. $4 is more about you making an investment into your future than it is about that money to me. Mike Jones, thank you so much for the super chat. Can you give us an analysis of Dash? Its price is near all-time low. It's highly used in Venezuela. It appears to be off of the SEC crap list. Why they put Dash on the SEC crap list, I don't ever know. But for the super chat, I am definitely going to look at it for you. Dash is an interesting one because I have followed Dash since 2017. Not so closely anymore, but prior to 2017, it launched. One of the channels that I watched, he first found, when he was first in crypto, Dash at $2. He didn't take it all that serious, though his friend was telling him about it. Why? Because it was a bear market. And in a bear market, well, he was scared to buy it at $2. And then it proceeded to go all the way to 12. He wanted to get enough to get a node, but he waited. And then the price went to $12.86 per node. I think you had to have 10,000 to get a node. So at one point, he could have gotten a node for about $20,000. Later, it was unfathomable what it would have cost. I don't know if Dash's future, though, is it. A lot of things have gone a different way. So Dash hasn't stayed as relevant. Now its price has come all the way down to $29. And will it likely pump in the coming bull run? Yes. Oh, shoot. Am I not sharing my screen this whole time? Goodness gracious. All right. Here is Dash. Here is when I started paying attention to it, or I didn't come in until 2017, October, and they were talking about it was $300. And the guy that I was watching talked about when he first came into crypto, it was under $2. And his friend told him to buy enough to get a note. He had the money and he didn't, and it went up. And I was like, holy cow, what a missed opportunity. I hope I run into some opportunities like that. I was brand new, trying to make crypto work, but the prices were already at $400. It made sense to me not to FOMO in. They did go to 1286 before a savage pullback, but here's my concern. Even in the last bull run, it only went from $67 to $404. I guess the true low is $41. So it went up about 10x from the bottom of the bear market. And I don't know that this coming bull run, it's going to do better than 10x from there. So will it probably outperform the S&P 500 from now until the coming bull run? Yeah, I'd say the chances are really high. Will it outperform a lot of the other stuff? It could, but I don't see why it will. It does make sense to me that the Dash is being used in Argentina. I think it has some privacy stuff behind it, and Argentina doesn't like their citizens using cryptocurrency because they like massively printing their money, their fiat currency, and being able to devalue it to their benefit, but everyone else's detriment. And so they try to shut the door to all the competitors. And so I think Dash has ways around that and people running nodes. So it's definitely a lot better than holding Argentinian pesos. But am I going to buy it? No. Just in time asks, hey, Rain, what do you think of Tidal Finance? I can maybe look at that in a minute. Abe J, Massive Alpha, thank you. It is on the finance side, so I'd prefer suggestions on game stuff that you want me to do. This is in there from Tommy Vespar. Oh, and before that, so I guess I missed a couple comments. So let me check those out, the ones I missed. Do you hold your tokens on Trust Wallet, cold storage, and exchange? I guess could be a mixture depending on frequency. Yeah, so there's a new wallet out called, I'm forgetting the name of it, that's really, really good. And you can buy a couple of them. And in the Discord, we talk about it all the time. And for whatever reason, I'm completely forgetting the name of it. But they've actually been out for quite a while, but they've made some updates that have made them highly relevant. And Ledger is getting less use because people don't trust it as much anymore. So, yes, it's a good idea to hold it on different wallets and have some different security measures in place. And you hold some in cold storage and other places. So you're already on the right path with that. What do I think about Gaia Everworld? They just released the beta and Torum. So I bought a bunch of their characters. I bought a bunch of their tokens. When it wasn't clear if the play-to-earn gaming space would continue to run, so this is June 2021. So prices had come down off of March highs, but it was gearing up for another run. So I bought some Gaia tokens and their pre-sale. And I also bought some of their characters. Now, the price on those have all gotten savaged, but their ideas made sense. And sometimes these things that get savage do quite well in the future. Axie Infinity, there were several points where it did not look like Axie Infinity would survive, and yet they did 3000x from where I bought at. And I didn't buy at the bottom because I bought when it initially launched, and then it got savage from there, and then it went crazy up. So I hope that ends up being the story of Gaia Everworld. Their token is absolutely savage in price. It's good to hear that they're releasing some stuff. It was kind of some cool, their ideas with the NFT sales, that they raised some money and like you could use these NFTs as like characters that could do work for you in their Everworld. And so I've just held my tokens and stuff. It wouldn't be bad for me to throw in what I call coffee money. They are on PancakeSwap. and QuickSwap. So you can buy it both on the Polygon network or PancakeSwap with very low trading fees to get some. So great for bringing it up. And at this price, I like it. So it's risky. Will they probably survive? Well, if they just released their beta, then that's really good news. All right. Booth asks a really good question here. Immutable X. I like Immutable X a lot. Indirectly, I'm an early investor in Immutable X. I bought, they released Gods Unchained. And so Gods Unchained was backed by Coinbase. And it was a play card game. And even though I don't know how to use play card games, made sense to me that a card playing game on the blockchain, that there's value in that, and that some of the early stuff could have high value. So when it came out, I bought a whole bunch of the Genesis packs, a whole bunch of them. And then I bought some more, and then I bought some more. And for being an early investor in that, then Immutable X, when they launched their tokens, you were able to claim an airdrop of tokens. And so I did. I got like 20,000 tokens. I sold them at about $5 a piece. So I made decent money on my overall investment. And I still have all the cards. So now I only sold the Immutable X because it was pretty clear that the price was going to drop more. And so it was like, well, I didn't want to hold it through the sinking ship. Just a lot of their tokens were vesting to pre-sale investors, and it's still far above what pre-sale investors paid for their tokens, even at this price. So even though it looks like it's savaged down, the pre-sale investors are still way, way up. But its market cap is about 800 million. I like this one a lot. I always plan to get back into it. I would like to buy back my original amount that I had. I haven't fully bought that yet. I like to buy at least 20,000 or more. I haven't put that back in yet. A lot of the reason is a lot of my cash is tied up in stuff that is down, and I do not sell my stuff that is down to roll into something else. That's just not how I do it. So like Gaia, Everworld, I'm just going to hold that stuff. And the reason is that, like, think about my Axie Infinity investment. Do you know that most thing that was hotter, and then they never got to see that big upside? So one of my principles is I only sell when things are going good and I'm taking profit. So as that happens, I free up more capital to roll into, because right now I can buy back my whole position for 13,000, and then I could expand on that. Line here. So I don't know why it's having so much trouble. So hopefully you're able to see me okay. Let's see. Title finance. Yeah. If we get through everything and we have time, we'll look at a finance project. Dash has major scarcity too. I did look at Dash, but that was just because of the super chat. Do you hold any tokens on trust? Okay, so that was a question I was going over. Mike Jones says, thanks for the analysis. Kroner says, great content, Rain. If you want to talk about savaged gaming projects, how about an old Rainmaker Gem, Legend of Crypto game? They're still alive. I actually went on their space. They had a Twitter Spaces yesterday. Now, what I was hoping with this one, oops, it does help when you spell things right, was that there was a collectability idea of a project that came out that captured cards related to the early days in the industry. And so sometimes these things take a while to play out. So they have some NFTs for their games that are fairly cheap that you can play. Now, will they end up being really highly relevant down the road? They might be. Think about how much people are paying for that it would put them in a space that they would do quite well down the road. Now, their token is Savage right now, and it's quite cheap. In fact, their market cap is 265,000, even though they're still around and working, have some decent connections. Andrea, who lined up the Twitter Spaces, she's really cool gal, and they've continued to release additional things and make additional partnerships. So I think they're still being relevant. And so as long as they stay around and alive, this is a really low market cap that could do well. And most of their tokens are, I guess, no, most of their tokens are not in circulation, but 1/3 of them are. Their fully diluted market cap is still only $800,000. So great suggestion, Chris Ashby. I did add to my position. It was a number of months ago, and it's even cheaper since then. In fact, it's about a third or 2/3 cheaper than back then. Great suggestion. All right. Tommy Vesper says, Rain, I saw someone mention Dega on your stream yesterday. I checked it out, and it looks solid. They're partnered with Meld, and I learned about Meld because of you. Did I look up Dega yet? What is Dega? Let's see if it's not showing. Let me check CoinGecko. What is Dega? I'm not finding Dega. Any additional information you can tell me, Tommy, about Dega? Let me look up Meld partners with Dega. I do like Meld. They are on the DeFi side of things. I like their team a lot. All right. Here's some information on Dega. Okay, Bitcoin Insider says Dega revolutionizes fundraising with their gamified multi-chain initial stake pool offering. So Dega revolutionized fundraising. I guess that just says the same thing. In a unique partnership with Meld, Cornucopias, and soon-to-be released major players in the blockchain space, Dega has announced their gamified multi-chain initial stake pool offering. Traditionally a Cardano-based fundraising technology, Dega has extended this unique reduced risk method for fundraising to ETH, Polkadot, and Polygon. Dega will first deploy multi-chain ISPO technology to fund their own operations. They offer ISPOs as a fundraising method for those building games and Metaverse projects on their infrastructure. Very interesting. Cool. So it looks like their Twitter, their website is dega.org. Interesting. So a lot of it has to do with pre-mint pass. What is an ISPO? I don't know if they have a token or what the situation is. I couldn't find them on CoinMarketCap. Looks like they're partnered with all the right partners inside of the Cardano ecosystem. So many of the big players between Meld, Cornucopias, World Mobile, Iagon, ViFi. So I'm seeing all the right things. Cool. As seen in Hustlepedia, Crypto Banter, Hacker Noon, Bitcoin Insider. Cool. Yeah, great mention. What is the name of it that I like? Let me search our Rainmaker chat, and I will. Find the name of that. I am totally forgetting, but you can buy multiple of them. Tangem wallets. Gosh, yeah, like I've known that name for forever, and yet, when you're on stream, it's funny how you can just forget things. So it's the Tangem wallet. Tommy says, I'm in an ISPO right now, or I'm in an ISPO rain. I'm staking now and earning tokens now. Cool. The ISPO model was really, really cool idea. Yeah, I like it. Within the Cardano ecosystem, essentially the way it works is you delegate to their pool. They take the Cardano rewards that you would be getting, and they essentially give you tokens in return. Now, sometimes they also give you a percentage or all of your Cardano rewards. Sometimes they take the Cardano rewards as a fundraising method. And so I don't know where things are at. I did participate in some of those before. I still have some Cardano delegated. I used to have a lot of Cardano, almost 400,000 Cardano. I have way less than that now because I've taken profits in that, rolled it to other things, but I still have some Cardano. Cool. All right. Well, that's a lot that was on my mind today. I wanted to share with you. Blockchain gaming is going to be absolutely massive, and it doesn't feel like it now because this is what happens in a bear market is you get depressed, you get bummed, and it's hard to make it through it. I did create the private Discord community to really help so that you could find people who think the same way, and it just reinforces you. It increases your chances to not only be learning the right things during the bear market, but interacting with the right people that have long-term views. When you surround yourself with enough of the right people, it really strengthens you because they miss the best opportunity they could have ever had for life-changing gains just because it got boring and they were listening to all these newbies who don't know what they're talking about how everything's dead. And people think they're so enlightened when they're saying that, and they just know nothing. They don't understand market cycles. They don't understand the crypto market cycle. They don't realize that even in the non-crypto space, everything has cycles. Every investment asset class, real estate, stocks, bonds. And so like they go through these swings of being really expensive and then getting cheap and then being really expensive, then cheap. And so I like playing those swings and buying when it's cheap and then selling when it's high. But these people get people to sell when it's low. And then people often come back in and FOMO in when it's high, which is why most people lose money in crypto. That is not the way to do it. To reinforce the right ways to do it, I've got this wrap for all of you. Enjoy. We'll see you all soon. Oh, keep in mind, we are going live with Around the Coinbase part 2 of this week because our special guest had to delay till today. And so that's in an hour and 15 minutes. See y'all soon.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit right before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I stick the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this wrong cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters just be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.